My girlfriend always kept bringing up how perfect her ex was, so I dumped her exactly like he did. You ever get that gut feeling that something just isn't right? That no matter what you do, you're never enough for someone? That was my life for the past year with my now ex-girlfriend, Natalie. At first, things were great, amazing even, but as time went on, it became clear that I wasn't just dating her. I was also competing with the ghost of her oh-so-perfect ex-boyfriend, Jake. Jake did this. Jake did that. Jake was so romantic. Jake was so funny. Jake was so thoughtful. Jake. I'll admit, at first, I brushed it off. Every now and then, people compare their past relationships. It's human nature, right? But when your entire relationship starts revolving around someone who isn't even in the picture anymore, that's when you start wondering, why am I even here? This is the story of how I decided I had enough, and how I walked away exactly like Jake did. It started with little comments here and there. Natalie would sigh and go, "You know, Jake used to surprise me with flowers randomly, just because he wanted to see me smile." Or, "Jake always knew the best places to take me on dates. He had great taste." Or the absolute worst one, "Jake just knew how to make me feel special. It was like he understood me on another level." Okay, cool. Good for Jake. What the hell was I supposed to do with that information? At first, I genuinely tried to take it as constructive feedback. I figured, maybe she just wants me to be more romantic. So I did start planning better dates. I did try to do more little surprises. I did make more of an effort to be the best boyfriend I could be. But no matter what I did, I could never quite match up to the legend of Jake. One day, we were out having dinner, and she actually said, and I kid you not, "You should take some tips from Jake. He just knew how to make a girl feel truly loved." I almost choked on my drink. Did she really just say that to my face? It was at that moment that I realized nothing I did was ever going to be enough for her. She wasn't in love with me. She was in love with a memory. And that's when a wicked idea hit me. If Jake was so perfect and he had left her, why not let history repeat itself? I started digging. I never really cared much about why Jake and Natalie broke up before, but now, I needed to know exactly how he did it. So, I did what any man on a mission would do. I went through her old Facebook posts, asked mutual friends, and even casually brought up the breakup in conversation to get her talking. And after some careful research, I had my answer. Jake dumped her in a text message. A cold, emotionless, straight-to-the-point text. Natalie had ranted to her friends about how heartless it was, how she never got closure, how she couldn't believe he would just walk away like that after everything they had been through. It crushed her. And that's when I knew that was exactly how I was going to end things. I waited for the perfect moment. I wanted the breakup to have maximum impact. One day, Natalie and I were out at a party with friends. She was in one of her usual Jake nostalgia moods, going on about how he used to be so charming and so confident and how he just had this way of making people feel special. Then, the final straw. She turned to me and said, right in front of our friends, "You could really learn a thing or two from Jake, you know?" Everyone went silent. I just smiled, nodded, and said, "You're absolutely right." That night, after dropping her off, I went home, pulled out my phone, and wrote a single, cold-blooded text. "Hey, Natalie, I've been thinking a lot, and I realized we just aren't right for each other. This isn't working out. I wish you the best." Then, I blocked her. On everything. The next morning, my phone was blowing up. Texts, calls, voicemails. I ignored them all. I knew exactly what she was feeling, because she had already described it to me before. The confusion, the frustration, the desperate need for closure. A few days later, I ran into one of our mutual friends, and he said Natalie had been freaking out. She was telling everyone. I can't believe he would just walk away like that, without even talking to me. It's so cold. Oh, really? You don't say. Apparently, she even reached out to Jake to vent about how I had dumped her the same way he did. The irony was delicious. It's been a few months now, and let me tell you, it was the most satisfying breakup of my life. No regrets, no second thoughts. Natalie taught me a valuable lesson. Never settle for someone who treats you like a replacement for their past. I deserved someone who actually appreciated me, not a guy she dated years ago. And honestly, I like to think that, somewhere out there, Jake would be proud of me.